The lights dim, not just in an arena, but across an entire industry. And if you listen closely to the hum of the crowd in 2026, you can hear the sound of a heartbeat that many thought had been digitized out of existence. For decades, we lived in the shadow of a single towering monolith, a global empire called WWE that didn't just produce wrestling, it defined the very parameters of what professional wrestling was allowed to be.
He had a vision to take his father's territory in New York and literally make it the biggest wrestling company, not only in the United States, in the world, to make it global.
Vince Jr. was more willing to take it all and be ruthless.
But first,
it was the machine, the spectacle, the undeniable sun around which every other promotion was forced to orbit. But as we sit here today, the conversation has shifted from the size of the empire to the depth of the soul. There is a palpable sense that while one side of the fence is building a skyscraper, the other is tending to a fire. Dominance is a strange thing because it often trades intimacy for scale. When TKO Group Holdings took the reins and fully integrated WWE into this hyper-corporate, multi-billion-dollar sports entertainment ecosystem, something fundamental changed in the air. The ring canvas, once a blank slate for gladiators, is now a mosaic of corporate logos and sponsorship placements. Every powerbomb feels like it's brought to you by a soft drink or a streaming service, and the wrestlers themselves, as gifted as they are, often feel like they are operating within a very high-end, very expensive simulation. They are brands within a brand, speaking in a dialect that feels calibrated by a room of executives to ensure maximum marketability and minimum risk. It is efficient, it is profitable, and it is undeniably massive. But for a growing segment of the audience, it has started to feel like a high-end mall, beautiful to look at, but lacking a history you can actually feel.
By the end of the night, the middle of that ring gets really slippery with them logos painted in there. I'll just say it, bro. I noticed. I can't get running full speed. I got to be really careful with my feet and my placement because the logos that they now paint in the middle of the ring
Then you look at the other side of the ledger, at AEW, and the energy is vibrating on a different frequency.
You were the golden boy, the chosen one. You came walking into this company in 2019 with all the buzz and propaganda in the world. You know what I came in with, Hangman? Huh? All I needed was a scarf and a mic. You have earned nothing. I walk better than you. I talk better than you. I look better than you. I dress better than you. I am better than you.
In 2026, AEW has stopped trying to be the alternative and has simply become the destination for anyone who wants to feel the jagged edges of the art form. It feels character-driven in a way that reminds you of the old territories, yet it's polished with a modern intensity. Wrestlers here aren't just assets on a balance sheet. They are layered, often deeply flawed human beings who are allowed to carry their scars from one year to the next. When a friendship fractures in an AEW ring, it isn't a shock moment engineered to trend for 12 hours on social media. It is the agonizing conclusion of a narrative arc that might have started 18 months ago in a random tag team match that the audience was trusted to remember. That trust is the secret ingredient.
I am real.
WWE in 2026 operates on the assumption that the viewer needs constant reminders, big neon signs pointing to the hero and the villain, and a reset button that gets hit whenever a new sponsorship deal or a celebrity crossover demands center stage. But AEW treats its fans like historians. They remember the slights, the grudges, and the quiet nods. The promos don't sound like they were written in a corporate office. They sound like a man or a woman standing in a circle of light pouring out their genuine frustrations and their very real ambitions. There is a creative looseness, a sense that the performers are being given the keys to their own vehicles, and even when they swerve off the road, the audience stays with them because the journey feels authentic.
There has been an emphasis on profit with the increasing corporatization of one side without regard for the fans who help make the the company what it is. And once upon a time, you could take a family of 4 to an NBA game. And, now with the price hikes and, the corporate at AEW, we are still very concerned about that grassroots fandom. And I question maximizing profit to the point that you price out those grassroots fans who have been there from day one.
We have to talk about the physical reality of being a fan in 2026 too, because the barrier to entry has become a literal wall of currency. To sit front row at a WWE premium live event now is to participate in a luxury experience that is increasingly out of reach for the family of 4 or the college student who grew up on this stuff. Ticket prices have ascended into a stratosphere of 4-figure tags and dynamic pricing that reflects a company leaning into its status as a premium global attraction. It is exclusive. It is a gala. But when you make the circus too expensive for the locals, the noise in the tent starts to change. It becomes the sound of polite observation rather than primal participation. In contrast, the AEW experience still feels like a communal riot. The venues might be smaller, the production might not have the same sterile sheen, but the intimacy creates a pressure cooker. When a wrestler dives into the crowd or cuts a raw, bleeding heart promo, there isn't a distance of 50 yards and $1,000 between them and the people. It's immediate, it's visceral. You can see the sweat, you can hear the impact, and you can feel the desperation of a performer who knows that their career depends on the emotional investment of the person in the 10th row, not just the metrics on a spreadsheet. Success in 2026 is being measured by 2 completely different yardsticks. For WWE, success is a global site fee from a foreign government or a record-breaking streaming rights deal. It is a victory of infrastructure. It is a triumph of the machine, and there is a certain awe in watching that machine work. It is the most successful wrestling company in the history of the world for a reason, but profitability and passion are not synonymous. You can have a record-breaking fiscal year and still lose the heart of your base if they feel like the stories are being told to satisfy a shareholder rather than a spectator. AEW markets itself on the idea that wrestling is an art form first. They sell the match quality, yes, but they also sell the idea that the wins and losses matter because they represent the struggle of an artist trying to reach the top of their craft. It's a philosophy that allows for chaos and discomfort. It allows for storylines that don't always have a clean, marketable resolution because life doesn't always have one. Performers who were once stifled by the rigid structure of the corporate way have found a second life in this environment, rediscovering the versions of themselves that made them fall in love with the business in the first place. As we look toward the future, the divide only seems to be widening. WWE will continue to grow, to expand, and to turn professional wrestling into a polished, high-gloss entertainment product that can be sold in any corner of the globe. It will be the big show, the spectacle that everyone recognizes. But AEW is winning the battle for the real. It is capturing the fans who want to feel the pulse, who want to believe that the person in the ring is fighting for something more than just a brand's bottom line. In an industry that was built on carny shadows and smoke and mirrors, the most valuable thing you can offer an audience in 2026 isn't a celebrity appearance or a stadium light show. It's the feeling that, for just a moment, what you're watching is true. It's the feeling of edges that haven't been sanded down. It's the soul of the game, and right now, that soul seems to be finding its home in the places where the wrestling comes first.